This week, Triumph published a YouTube video teasing the arrival of a new Thruxton model, the RS. I found it interesting because the existing Thruxton R is already well spec with their top-of-the-line 1200 Bonneville high-power motor, as well as premium brakes and suspension. So I ran a poll on my Instagram to find out where people thought improvements could be made, and in today's video we're going to go through the answers. Although the 1200cc parallel twin is indeed the flagship of the Bonneville range, there have been some updates since the Thruxton and Thruxton R were announced back in 2016. The Speed Twin, launched earlier this year, uses the same motor but with a revised clutch assembly and magnesium cam covers to shave off 2.5 kilograms of weight. So these improvements to the motor seem like obvious candidates to make their way onto the RS. There could also be some changes to ensure that the bike is Euro 5 compliant ahead of its introduction in January 2020. We've just seen the launch of the Street Triple RS, which uses a twin catalyzer in order to get emissions down while still allowing the motor to breathe, so there might be similar requirements on a new Thruxton. Another area in which the Speed Twin saved weight versus the Thruxton and Thruxton R is the frame. It's the first Bonneville ever to use an aluminium cradle rather than an entirely steel frame, and there's no reason that this development wouldn't translate over. The Speed Twin also uses cast aluminium wheels rather than the spokes of the Thruxton, which actually results in a huge weight saving. Triumph's Chief Product Officer Steve Sargent said that the combined front wheel and disc assembly saved about 2.9 kilograms alone, and the rear wheel another 1.6. He went on to say that reducing inertia benefits handling the most. The more weight you've got in anything that's spinning fast is going to make it harder to change direction. That reduction in inertia liberated quite a lot out of the chassis in terms of how quickly the bike turns in and how precise it is. The Speed Twin wheels are actually a direct fit on the Thruxton. I've seen someone do it on the Triumph Rat Facebook group without any modification to the bike, so there's a good chance that they could carry over here to improve handling. They'd also give the Thruxton RS a more modern look, which seems to be the direction they're going in, judging by the teasers. The side panels in the video look the same as the existing bike in shape, although the finish is matte. There's also a photo circulating of the tank, which again has a modern matte finish, but with multiple colours. If you look at the earlier modern classic bikes like the Street Twin, Thruxton, T120 and T100, the shapes are more rounded and painted in single colours with a gloss finish. Recent bikes like the updated Street Twin, Speed Twin and 1200 Scrambler have more chiselled bodywork with colour combinations and graphics, sometimes using both gloss and matte finishes at the same time. There also seems to be a move away from the chrome of the old Thruxton towards a brushed finish on metal components. So it seems like the Thruxton will be brought up to date with the rest of the range from what little we can tell from the two images we've seen so far. A couple of participants in my poll said that they expected to see carbon on the RS, but I reckon that carbon parts will be reserved for the TFC models, which have been absolutely covered in it so far. Another suggestion from the poll was that a quick shifter would be fitted as standard. Triumph's Shift Assist, which operates both up and down, is standard on the new Street Triple RS as well as an option on the Speed Triple RS. So given that the new Thruxton will carry the same RS suffix, there's a good chance that it will be present. If you want to fit a quick shifter to the current Thruxton, you have to use a third-party modification. So a factory fit might be a welcome addition for riders who like to push on. A new Thruxton RS could also be in line for some improved electronics. There are lots of new developments across Triumph's range since the last Thruxton release, such as TFT dashboards with Bluetooth connectivity and IMUs which enable cornering ABS and traction control. Both of these are present, for example, on the 1200 Scrambler XE, which was released earlier this year. Personally, I'm not sure that cutting-edge electronics are necessary on the Thruxton. It's a retro after all, but then again, I'm sure other riders would welcome more gadgetry, and there are always the lower spec models if it's not your cup of tea. One of my poll participants pointed out that the Speed Triple RS comes with an Arrow exhaust as standard. Now, Arrow have already developed some for the Thruxton TFC, so it'd be an easy way to upgrade the Thruxton RS against the base models. But then again, it'd potentially make the TFC a little less special for anyone who's bought one, so Triumph might want to maintain a gap in the specs between them. But probably the most common answer that I got on Instagram was that the price will go up. I'm not sure that that's a certainty uncertainty. After all, the Street Triple RS, which launched last week, stayed at the same price as the previous generation, despite the fact that it had a bunch of updates. On the other hand, the RS suffix indicates that Triumph will be launching something significantly better than the R, so it could sit somewhere above the £12,400 of that bike. Either way, I'm excited to see what comes out. Sometimes I feel like my channel contains almost entirely Triumph content, but they're releasing so many interesting bikes at the moment that I'm really enjoying covering them. What do you guys think a new Thruxton RS will include, and what's the new Triumph you're most looking forward to over the coming months? A new Speed Triple is rumoured, as is a new Tiger, but personally I love the modern classics, so this Thruxton will be up there for me. The teaser says that the bike will be unveiled on the 5th of November, which is the first day of EICMA in Milan. I'll be heading to the show to get a look at the new bikes, so hit subscribe if you want to see them as soon as they're unveiled, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.